Welcome, it's Stefan here. I need you to hit pause, go get a drink, come back and relax because this week I have something really special planned. I had a remote conversation from across the globe with a prominent chess collector and author. We relaxed, we had a beer, we talked chess. If you stick around to the end, you're going to see some of the most beautiful chess pieces you've ever seen. So let's just jump right into it. I invite you to be part of the conversation I had with Holger Langer.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone.
And before we get started, me and Holger, we're hanging out here. We agreed to have a beer together. So in your honor, Holger, I got a couple of imported German beers. I don't know if you recognize these.
Yes, very nice.
This is called Augustiner.
Yeah, a very good beer.
Good. Okay. I chose this one because it actually, I don't know if you can see it. It actually looks like there's it's a bishop or a king.
Yeah, it's a bishop, it's St. Augustine actually, and I think that's a rather strong one you bought there, isn't it?
This it says 7.5%.
Oh yeah, that's rather strong.
I have their version right here. This is I guess the Bavaria.
That's a very good one. I like that one. They're both Bavarian beers. I have a Bavarian beer as well.
Okay, and what are you drinking?
It's called Pilgrim Stuff. And this is because the brewery is on the base of a small hill, and on the top of the hill is a pilgrimage church. And there's a saying that there's a pilgrimage, and it stops first at the church, and then on the way back it stops at the pub. So that's why it's called Pilgrim. It's the first time I tried it actually, so but it looked very nice.
All right, and I guess you'll let us know what you think.
I will.
All right, so
I have the proper Bavarian
Post. Okay, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Or silent, yes. This is very good. This is my first time drinking this one.
This one is a very good one as well. Oh, nice.
Okay. Why don't you start by telling us where you're from? So I'm just to let you guys know, I'm talking to Holger. I'm from New York right now, and it's the evening, so it must be getting late for you where you are. So tell us about where you're from and maybe how you got into collecting chess pieces.
Yes, I will. I mean, you already gave a little hint when you presented these beers, because I'm from Germany, born and raised close to Hanover in the north of Germany, and now living even further north, very close to Hamburg, which is the port city in the north of Germany, with one of the largest ports in Europe, and yeah, that's where I'm working, but I'm living a little bit outside in the suburbs.
Okay, nice. And how did you get into collecting? I see right behind you, you have this extensive and stunning chess collection. When did you start collecting chess pieces, and how did you get into it?
So I got into chess collecting a couple of years ago, actually, when I should probably explain a bit of the background. I mean, I was always interested in chess, but I never really played a lot of chess. I grew up in a very small village. We did not have a chess club. And then I went to school in the town, in a larger town in the vicinity, and I'm pretty sure that we did have some kind of chess activity there, but I never made it there. It was not on my radar. So I was interested in chess, but played only, for fun every now and then with my father or with some friends, but never really tournament play, club play, something like that. But I always had an affinity for chess, and especially for the aesthetics of chess. I like this. It's a very simple and yet delicate design. You have two colors. You have 64 squares. a rather simple setup, but with a lot of opportunities, a lot of different aspects, and I always liked that. You know, this basic design on the one hand, and these huge gaps to fill on the other hand, and you can see this. The variety of the game itself reflects in the design of chess pieces, and this is what I was always fascinated in.
Okay, great. And tell us about the website that you created. And we'll get into your book in just one second. But it appeared that a lot of the stuff in the book came out of a lot of the research that you started presenting on your website.
Yeah, I set a website up also a couple of years ago when my collection started to grow, because I felt the need, on one hand, to present my chess sets to other collectors and to get into contact with them and in touch, exchange knowledge, because it's not easy finding out about chess sets. And on the other hand, I wanted to collect information about the chess sets as well. So I started a website which helped me structuring this effort. And my website's called www.chess-collection.de. And everyone's invited to take a look. It's constantly growing because whenever I add a chess set to my collection, I try to take pictures. It sometimes takes me a while, but it's time intensive keeping this website up to date. And but whenever I have the time to take pictures and write a little text about what I believe is the background of the chess set, then I'll upload it and update my site. And you mentioned that a lot of my chess sets are also mentioned in my book. That's correct, but I have to say, please do not compare the text in my book with the text on my website, because the website texts are much earlier. And many of the things that I wrote at the beginning turned out to be, let's say, not entirely correct or incomplete, and so I started a second, let's say, a second effort of research went into my book. So a lot of the stuff that is on my website was updated in the book, and I didn't have the time to update the versions on my website yet.
I'm actually a science teacher, and I know, and even as a teacher, I'm always learning and modifying my lessons and things like that. So when you have a passion for something, it's always learning in and out of your craft, and really across a lifetime. So I collect chess pieces myself, and I want to tell you that this book really helped me out. And I just want to quote something from it. You said it is also intended to give suggestions on how to find and focus for collecting. The explanations are supported and illustrated with examples from the author's collection. As you mentioned, it is therefore equally suitable as a reference and a casual reading. And I found it really helpful because I came across a couple of chess sets that I recently acquired, and I learned about them so much from your book. So, like, for example, I was able to acquire this 19th century Cantonese chess set, and I was a little unsure about where it came from, and your book immediately pointed at the style. And there's a couple other examples where I got these chess sets, and you can actually see in the book, I really like the way that you organize the chapters, because I was able to go to the chapter, find a very similar picture, and then get an idea for the time frame and the style of where it came from. So you did a really, really good job.
Thank you very much.
I would definitely recommend it to anybody. So how long did it take you to write the book?
It was actually my COVID-19 project. So, I mean, I had the advantage of making use of what I did assemble for the website before, in terms of chess sets that I'm presenting in the book. But the rest of the research was really done during the last let's say, 2.5 years. And what I tried with this book also is to to bring together all these different sources that are out there. I mean, there are a few books on chess pieces and chess sets out there. There is a magazine for those of you who are members of Chess Collectors International. We have a magazine called The Chess Collector, and there is a USA newsletter in addition to that. I have a lot of back issues of this magazine. I do collect auction catalogs as well. I have about 100 of them. And there's a lot of information from all these sources, but I did not really find a book that was trying to put this all together. And so what I tried also, this is why I say my book is also a reference book. As you could see, there's a large appendix there showing all the articles that I'm citing, all the books that I'm citing. So these are also suggestions of where you can get more information about the various chess sets.
I want to ask, what is your favorite type of chess set?
That's difficult to say because I don't really have a favorite type or a favorite set. And I will explain a bit more about it in a minute. But you mentioned before that when talking about my book that I recommended or suggested some potential collecting focuses, and something that's one of the recommendations I want to give to new collectors. If they are serious about collecting, they should focus soon, because when you start collecting everything, it becomes too much. Yeah, that's how I started. I started collecting everything I like.
And how many chess sets do you think you have in your collection at this point?
At this point, about 250 probably, or approximately 250, plus minus.
Wow.
More rather plus than minus, but okay. That's about it. Not everything I have is really truly collectible from the focus that I have developed now.
Ah, okay.
When I started, I bought everything that I had seen somewhere else in someone else's collection, and I thought, wow, that's nice. I like it, so I bought it. But it became a little bit, it became too much. So I had the impression that I do not really have a very focused collection. So I started focusing on antique sets. Meaning antique, I mean, it's not a fixed definition, but for me, antique sets is everything that is pre-World War II. I'm trying to focus on 19th century or earlier, but I do occasionally buy early 20th century sets because they're also very nice. But I try to stay away from the very modern stuff now. Even though sometimes I do buy modern sets when I like them really very much, then I buy modern. And sometimes I also decline an antique set if I don't like it. So it's not the only criteria for me to choose, but it is, trying to focus is always a good thing.
Okay, yeah, I actually did notice on your website you have a lot of older chess sets. And I noticed that you also have a lot of Philippine and maybe Romanian chess sets. Can you talk about those a little bit?
I can. The Philippine chess sets, they have a very personal, familiar background because my first wife came from the Philippines. I met her when I was working for the German embassy in Manila for a while. And I have a stepson who is Filipino, and my own son is half Filipino, and so I regard these chess sets, even though they have no interest in chess, but I I'm not giving up hope yet. I regard these chess sets as part of their cultural heritage. So I had an interest because, I mean, I've been traveling the Philippines for a while. I've been to many places, and I thought that having chess sets from some of the places I visited is also kind of cool. That's why I have part of my collection is a Philippine collection. Then the Romanian collection is this is really. A Romanian friend is responsible for that because he was so generous as to gift me a couple of Romanian sets, and totally by surprise, I received a large box from him, stuffed, and he even made the effort to write a little bit about about the research he did on these chess sets and what he believed was the history of and background of these chess sets. And I thought, I have to give this some kind of credit by putting this on my website. And I'm still not finished. Not everything that's on the website is everything I got here. I still have 5 or 6 chess sets to go, but I didn't have the time yet.
Yeah, and I see in your cabinet behind you, it's not just chess sets. You have some clocks.
I can show you, for example, I can show you one clock that is really super rare, and that's this one.
Oh wow, it's shiny.
It is shiny, yes, and it's the buttons are in little recesses here, as you can see. It's little,
Yes.
you know, like this is a clock. I don't know if it's you can read because probably you can. It's made by Paul Posingis from Germany.
Oh, okay.
And this is one of the chess clocks that was used in the 1936 Olympics, the chess Olympiad in Munich.
Wow.
So that was the same Olympiad where they used the German Bundesform chess pieces, and that was one of these large Nazi propaganda events. And this really is. I've looked for a clock like this for several years, and then by chance I found it, and I was very lucky. I was the seller later told me that I was competing against a former world champion who also wanted to have that clock. So that's really a very nice clock. Yes, but apart from that, I've stopped collecting chess clocks by now, so I'm happy with what I have. I'm selling part of my collection because I'm focusing on chess sets now. It's again a question of focus. It's just getting too much, and there are people out there who are specializing on chess clocks, and it's better. They have their specialization. I have mine. So.
Do you collect any type of like travel chess sets or anything like that, like those small ones with the pegs or anything like that?
Yes, I do. I have a collection of travel chess sets as well. Also presenting most of them in my book, actually. And and I do have my favorite travel chess sets, which is the Jakes in Statu Quo, which is until today, I think, the best travel chess set ever invented.
What's so good about it?
I can show you. It's the mechanism behind it. I mean, I'll show you a large one because it's probably easier to see that way. I do have smaller ones as well, but this is a large one, and it's not typical because the pieces in there are yellow. And not red, but they used to be red, and I think it's just that when these chess sets were dyed in the 19th century. I mean, this is from the second half of the 19th century, and when the pieces were dyed, they had how do you call that? Like a primer. They used a primer with yellow wood. And then on top of that came the cochineal red. And I think in this pieces, because you can see it in some of the pieces, it's still red on some in some parts. So I think the top part of the die came off, and you only have the primer now. So anyhow, this is the good thing about an in statu quo chess is that you can lock the pieces. And you have these, you can, I think you can see there are little holes in here. You can put this, and on each piece you have a little pin.
Is it like lock-in?
Yes, and the pin has a little recess at the bottom. So when you put it in, and then you push these buttons here, there is like a metal plate which has a sort of a drop-shaped opening, and the pin of the piece is getting into the larger part of that opening, and then you push it towards the small, and you cannot.
It's very well made.
And you have that on both sides. So if you push these in, you can just
Yeah. It's perfect for travel.
And so you close this. You can even lock it here when it's open, so that it doesn't fold accidentally. And you can just take it like that. And that's a large version. There's one size larger than that, but that's extremely rare. And then there are smaller ones. And to be honest, the smaller ones are the ones that I'm still taking on vacation with me when I'm away.
I like how it holds the position.
Exactly, and I like these very much. The perfect travel chess set.
Wow. So you had mentioned that you had some of your favorite chess sets from another room that you brought with you to share. Would you mind talking about those?
Yes, yeah, we can talk about those. I brought some of these pieces because I have my most valuable and most, my most favorite chess sets I have in a different cabinet in our living room. And I did not want to bring entire chess sets out of that cabinet. So what I did is I brought a few single pieces, I can, so one, or actually I brought the two kings of this chess set because of the Cantonese chess set you mentioned. I have a chess set that's very similar to the one you have. It's from, well, I would say the first half of the 20th century.
Okay.
But it's impressive in that the carving is extremely delicate. They're made of ivory and they're extremely big. So these are the two kings.
Look how big those are. Those are enormous.
And I don't know if you can see how delicate of these, even in the back. If you take a look at the back, these are simply amazing. Very, very beautiful ones.
Sometimes you don't get a frame of reference, like in the picture in your book. Like a lot of times in like maybe a scientific journal, or like a reference of a coin, something that everybody's familiar with. And when you hold them in your hand, you can't appreciate in the image how big they are. It's amazing.
Yeah. Then I have another chess set, same time period, mid 20th century. It's ivory again. This is also Chinese, and it's also pretty large. Actually, that's the king.
Brilliant.
I just want to show you, this is the modern version of the puzzle ball. I don't know if you can see, here's the puzzle ball in the center of the piece.
Yes.
And a puzzle ball means there's another ball inside, and it can move freely. And here's not one ball, it's not two, it's five, actually. 5 balls within a ball, and that is an amazing piece of craftsmanship, actually.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And it's a very beautiful set. It's actually very playable, a bit too large, but apart from that, very playable.
And how big is the board that those sit on?
I don't know, but it's probably a 5 centimeter base diameter, probably even more. I'm not sure 100%. You need a large board for that. 6 centimeter square size minimum, I'd say. Then I brought you something. This is the very piece that made me a chess collector. Because, as I mentioned before, I always liked the aesthetics of chess. But, there was a time when all I knew about chess sets was that the modern chess sets we're using today, these are chess sets. And I didn't know that there was anything else. And then one day, I was looking out for a new chess set, and I didn't want to spend the money for a new chess set. So I looked for vintage chess sets, used ones. And I stumbled about the eBay shop of an antiques trader. And they had these, I don't know if you can see these.
I can see it very well.
That is a knight from an 18th century Dutch chess set. And this very ancient shape of this horse, I immediately fell in love with that. And I felt like an art collector, I had the impression I have to have that. I didn't know why, but I felt, it really was so special for me. And it a lot of money, and I was really thinking, should I spend so much money on that? But I had the urge to have that and to see the full set and have it in my hands. So I decided to buy it, and I was lost from that moment on, because I still remember when it arrived, I opened the box, and this box it's a wooden box. It was full of pieces from the 18th century. So you open the box, and there was some kind of, musky smell like you get from old churches or museums. It was absolutely fascinating, and I was so happy that I bought this that I tried to find out more about it. And while I tried finding out more about this type of chess set, I realized there's a full universe of antique chess sets out there, and then I started exploring more and more. I started buying books. I started looking out for auction catalogs to have pictures of other chess sets, finding out more about them. And, well, this is how it all started. It started with this little guy.
I love the curve of the neck.
Yes, and I do have, by now, I bought a few other ones from the Netherlands, and I can show you. These are not wooden ones. These are made of bone and of ivory. But they're basically, the shape is basically the same, or at least, let's say, similar. This one is more or less the same.
Yeah, I can see it. It's a little bit flatter on top, but it looks very, yep, there it is. I'm looking pieces.
And this one here is, I think it's also Dutch. I'm pretty sure it is Dutch, but it's slightly different, but you can still see the same type of knight. So there's two more I brought.
Okay.
This one here.
Okay, wow, look at the top of that.
This is the queen of a chess set, and I think it's a Lund chess set, or Fischer chess set. I mean, I'd have to look it up again. There is a distinction between the two, but I think these were chess sets made by William Lund and then sold by Samuel Fischer.
The top almost reminds me of that French fleur-de-lis.
It is a fleur-de-lis top, yes. It is a French fleur-de-lis top, and it has pierced crowns, as you can see. Probably it's a fantastic piece of artistry, actually.
Wow.
And it's getting even more delicate. I bought this one from the same collector from who I bought the next one. This one is an Indian chess set, and I don't know if you can see how delicately carved this is.
Yeah, surprisingly, I could see it in pretty good detail on the camera. The details are amazing.
This is actually one of my favorite chess sets because it is really, it's pure elegance, to be honest. If you hold this in your hand, it's so fragile and delicate, and at the same time so, I don't know.
Is it heavy or light?
It's rather light. It's not really heavy. This one is that's same weight, I'd say. This one is slightly larger. It still has a nice weight. I mean, this is both antique ivory, and ivory has a rather large density, so it is a very, very nice material for chess pieces, to be honest. Yeah, I have more. As you can see, I mean, the left part here, this cabinet here is the bone and ivory collection. There are some very nice examples in here as well, like this one here, for example. This is a chess set. It's presumably made by Charles Hastilou from England, mid-19th century, and you can see it's a wonderful chess set. And this is heavy, so yeah.
Can we see the piece with the flag on top? Can I look at the rook? Yeah.
I'll get you a red rook.
Oh, nice.
Change.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely fantastic chess set. Very proud to have one like that. Let's see, what else can I show you? There's actually an interesting story I can tell you. This is a story about something what fascinates me about chess collecting is, I mean, you're a chess collector yourself, so you probably know the feeling. You're always looking out for something. You're hunting rare chess sets, and that's part of the thrill.
The thrill of the hunt, yeah.
But then sometimes you successfully hunted a chess set, you got it, but you don't know what you have. And one of those chess sets was this one. I can take out more than one piece if you want. I'll take out, let's say, the black king and the white knight. So that's an interesting one. That's the king.
Okay.
And maybe, I mean, this is a Staunton type. I probably want to say something because you asked me earlier, what's my favorite type of chess set? And I said I don't really have a favorite type. Most people would probably answer that Staunton is their favorite type because it definitely is very playable. It was a revolution when it was introduced in 1849. But I personally, I like Staunton pieces, but they're definitely not my favorite chess design. Because, and maybe I'm strange, but for me, they were also a killer of diversity because they were so popular that everything else dried out after a while and was not continued. I mean, they did continue some other patterns, but none of those seriously survived. And we had a lot of variety of chess sets in the middle of the 19th century. And nowadays we have Staunton, and that's it, more or less. So I'm always for me, it's always a little bit ambiguous, There's two sides of the story. It's a nice design, but at the same time, a lot of other designs vanished afterwards. So it's not my favorite design. So these ones are from a Staunton set, and you can see, just look at the mane of this
wow.
Knight. It's extremely well carved again.
Beautiful.
I bought this knight, or this, not the knight only, the set. I bought this set a few years ago, and it was sold by an American seller, and it was advertised as a plastic set. And now, as a collector of antique sets, I'm usually not so much into plastic because they simply don't fit the antique pattern. I do have a few early plastic sets, and I do have, for example, I have one of these BCC, British Chess Company set, Exotic Knights. That was a very early form of plastic. But I did not have, I was not looking out for a plastic set, but this one, I thought, wow, this is such a great design. I even go for plastic, no problem. So I bought it. And when I received it, I realized this is not plastic. And I was suspicious before, to be honest, but it turned out to be ivory.
Wow.
Very high quality ivory. But I didn't know where it was from, what it was exactly, who made it. So I tried to find out. I circulated a couple pictures to collectors, to renowned collectors, and none of them was able to give me a definite answer. They said, it could be Austrian, could be Italian, could be German, and but nobody was really sure. So it was like that for 2 or 3 years, when about 2 years ago, I found a chess set, and it was almost exactly the same design. It was not as delicately carved as this one, but the shape of the knight was the same.
Okay.
The other pieces was the same. The height and size of the pieces was the same. I thought like you had like a 95% match to the ivory. And guess what? I bought it. It came, and the maker's mark on the queen. So now I knew who made it, and it was a German chess maker called Gärtner from the German town of Dresden.
Wow.
And these are the stories that I find totally fascinating, because you find out these things. This is like a detective story.
Each set has its own story behind it. That's great.
Follow the lead, and then by chance you find out you find this maker's mark. You start digging into old. What I did was actually I checked old address books of the city of Dresden for the name Gärtner, Turner by profession, and I found out all about the business because he advertised in the 19th century address books. He advertised as an art turner, and then I found in old catalogs, I found advertisements. He was not doing only chess pieces; he made a lot of things, which was common. But he did also advertise that he is a maker of chess sets. So I found out about it, and by now I have found one more specimen of the ivory set. It is with a collector in South Africa.
I agree that everybody uses Staunton pieces, but I guess the argument is that when you set up these older pieces and you're trying to play a game of chess, a lot of times they're a bit clumsy and you could like knock them over easily.
That's true, and that is in fact one of the big advantages, that they are very stable when playing. And I do have Staunton sets as well. I mean, here you see on this side, that's the wooden collection, and I have also a lot of Staunton sets, like the one I mentioned before here, the BCC set with the Exotic Knights. That's a beautiful set.
Right.
You know?
Nice.
These are the Exotic Lizard Knights.
Nice.
Absolutely beautiful and extremely very solid, heavy pieces. But talking about stable, I mean, still, even a set like this, for example, this is a Czech set that came from a Bohemian chess set, late 18th century perhaps, weighted basis. This is also pretty stable, to be honest. It looks very, very slim, delicate, but it is rather stable to play, actually.
It looks like a tulip or a flower or something. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it comes with these very beautiful, almost Art Deco knights. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, very nice.
So really beautiful knights.
So if you were to play a casual game of chess with a friend or something like that, which set would you choose?
I'm not sure if I would play with my antique sets with my friends, to be honest. One set I like to use is a reproduction. In fact, it's a reproduction that I made. The idea behind it was the same because the same as with the Gärtner set I had. I was looking for a chess set which I couldn't find. And the only clue I had was a picture in a catalog. It was a catalog by Alfred Rögner from 1885. He was a book trader, antiquarian, working in Leipzig in the late 19th century. And he claimed in this catalog that he made a set of chess pieces that was really he presented it to the local chess club, the Augustea, which was one of the prestigious chess clubs of that time in Germany, and he said he presented it to an expert committee, and the expert committee found them splendid. So you could buy them, and I thought, well, if you could buy them and they were splendid, it must be possible to find them.
Right.
And I was looking out for several years and I could not find them. So these are the pictures here, the catalog. Here's the catalog. I just said Alfred Rögner is Adolf Rögner. That's the catalog from 1885. And there is a picture. Here's the picture of the chess pieces.
Okay.
Okay, so I thought, wow, that's a nice chess set. I want to have it like that. So I couldn't find one. And when I couldn't find one, I decided that, and I asked around again. I said, does anybody have a chess set like that? Or have you seen one like that? And nobody had seen one. So I said, okay, I'm normally not a big fan of reproductions, but if you have an antique original that nobody has or possesses, or that is so rare that you cannot get it, then I think there is a valid reason to have a reproduction. So I embarked on this mission to have this reproduced, and I had a support of a friend who's also a chess collector, and he's an artist, because else I wouldn't have been able to do it. We found one of the makers in India who's doing these very high quality chess sets. He's also producing for House of Staunton, Official Staunton, for the big makers, and over a period of several months, we developed this chess set from a 2D, two-dimensional print in a catalog to a three-dimensional actual piece that you can hold in your hands. So I decided to bring this out in a limited edition of 20 sets. And I sold these 20 sets to, apart from the one that I kept, to collectors worldwide. So there are 20 lucky people who have this set now, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best sets to play with. That's the Black King. And these pieces have a very nice, they are weighted. They have, probably difficult to see. They don't have felt, they have leather felt.
Yeah.
We imprinted the logo of the project on the bottom, on the bases of the kings.
Okay. Very nice.
So, and that is actually my favorite set to play. Here are the knights. And this is my favorite set for playing when I'm playing with a friend.
Very nice. So what are your future goals?
We're always hunting for new sets. That's something, it's, it's a disease.
Any more books or anything like that you're planning on writing?
It was a lot of work to get this one done. I'm not sure how well my wife would take it if I embark on another mission like that. It's not anytime soon. What I do, every now and then, I'm publishing articles in Chess Collector. I was interviewed by the Antique Trade Gazette recently, and this is the stuff I'm doing at the moment. I have just handed in a new article on a Danish chess set maker of the 19th century, which will be not in the next issue of the Chess Collector because that's already in print, but the one after that will feature this article of mine. And well, that's what I'm currently doing. I'm trying to, I have neglected all the other areas of my chess collecting when writing the book, so I need to work on my social media. My Facebook page I'm catching up now. I have an Instagram where I present some of my chess sets, which I haven't touched.
Where can we find you on Instagram if we want to follow you?
At Chess Collector. That's Instagram. Yeah, and all these activities. I need to desperately to update my my auction catalog library. I have bought a few auction catalogs, but I haven't really digested all this. I have lots of books that I still need to read, and I'm trying to get a little bit more active with Chess Collectors International. So I've just been to the first post-COVID meeting we had in Plauen a couple of weeks ago, which was fantastic. Also, a few members from the US, Israel Raffaeli from New York or New Jersey was there, and Tom Gallegos, the president of the chess collectors in the US, was there, and it was great meeting some of the collectors in person. And this is something that that's my future plan, actually. If I had a future plan, my plan would be to one by one visit the collectors that I have been in touch with in person.
Oh, that's a great plan.
Yeah.
How's your beer doing? I'm done with mine right here.
I still have half to go because I was talking most of the time.
Is there anything else that you want to add?
I could add 1,000 things, but I don't know. I don't want to be tiresome.
We'll find you on the Facebook page and on Instagram, and we look forward to your social media presence coming in.
Everybody is invited to drop in on my website every now and then, because I'm doing updates every 2 or 3 weeks. So there will be a new chess set every 2 or 3 weeks, and I still have, at the moment, at least 20 that are not on the website yet.
Okay.
Minimum 20, probably more. I haven't counted. Also, you asked at the beginning if I'm selling chess sets. If somebody's interested, I'm not selling everything, but I'm always, if somebody's interested in buying an antique set, drop me a line, we can discuss, and if it's not for sale, I will tell you. If it is for sale, we'll figure out a deal. And also, if anybody has questions about antique chess sets, just get in touch. I'm always happy to help if I can. I have the advantage of a certain library, which is backing me. So, trying my best.
Yeah. So this is all good stuff you were talking about. I really appreciate you taking the time to tell me about your book and your chess sets. And thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.